You don't trade Nolan Smith unless you're a secret Cowboys agent. Dallas still stinks. But the way, King Dingbat here, you don't trade Nolan Smith. You understand? You don't do it. Why would you do it? I have been waiting days to talk about this because I think some things are just ridiculous. And this one fires me up. No doubt about it. Now, I know I haven't been putting out videos every day like normal. This was my first week back since being out of town. So I've been just playing catch up like all week and stuff like that. And so the next week coming up, I will try to catch up on all these videos that I have. A lot of you guys gave me submissions for videos to respond to. I will be posting those and trying to put those out as soon as hopefully tomorrow we'll start getting them out, and I'll be putting 1, 2 every day. So look for that because it should be pretty interesting. I'm looking forward to doing it, but I've been getting killed all week. So I'm sorry that I haven't had videos every day, but this is the perfect time because really things are kind of dead. We're about a week and a half from training camp. Can't wait for it to start. Training camp, it's right around the corner. And next week we can get into the previews of camp and certain things like that. But what I really wanted to talk about in this video, now this is a couple days old. It's something I was like, oh, I got to talk about this. I got to talk about this because it pisses me off. I don't know why this triggers me, but it does, all right? I got to say, could Eagles reach asking tag for Steelers TJ Watt? Now, that doesn't sound bad. TJ Watt's a great player. There's no question about it, okay? And you know, they talked about, you could give a first-round pick for him, which I think the Eagles would never do for his age. But then you get this whole thing about trading Nolan Smith and a late-round draft pick, okay? Rumors. Andrew Filipponi on 93.7 The Fan in Pittsburgh says he thinks the Steelers would trade TJ Watt to the Eagles for Nolan Smith and a late-round pick. Of course they would, if such a trade was presented to them. If the Eagles called up the Steelers and said, we want TJ Watt, we'll trade you Nolan Smith and a late-round pick, I think they'd take the trade. I really do. Now, for some reason, this thing flooded my DMs, okay? And I don't know if people thought this was reality or something like that, but the truth of the matter is the Eagles would not trade Nolan Smith and a late-round pick for TJ Watt. TJ Watt's, 31 years old. He was going to get paid like $40+ million. You have to get your head examined. You'd have to get your head examined. Now, you're going, well, TJ Watt's Defensive Player of the Year and this and that. He's great. There's no question about it. You don't trade a young guy who just broke out. You don't trade him for a 31-year-old who you're going to have to pay plus $40+ million. That makes no sense. All right, I got to get it out because it's been driving me. I've been holding this one back a few days. Nolan Smith in the playoffs, okay, to me, that essentially was his third NFL season. And he broke out. 4 sacks in the playoffs? I mean, Nolan Smith was a monster. You think, and I don't know, I guess a lot of people do think, because I heard Sills talking about there's other people, that he's still, a question mark of how good he is. I'm telling you, Nolan Smith's going to be double-digit sack guy. You're getting a guy who's going to start going into double-digit sacks. And you're talking about him young. He's young. Why would you trade him for a 31-year-old who you're going to have to pay $40+ million? It's absolutely ridiculous. You don't do it. I wouldn't do it. Ain't going to do it. And the Eagles wouldn't do it. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. All right? Of course the Steelers would do it. They would want a young guy who's about to go in the prime of his career, who's just coming on the scene as a double-digit sack guy. I think Nolan Smith is a stud, okay? I think Nolan Smith is going to be between, I think this year, I think he's 10 to 13 sacks this year. I think in upcoming years, he's 13 to 15, 16 sacks. He's got that kind of talent. You don't trade that for a guy TJ Watt's age. You don't do it. And then you got to pay TJ Watt. The Eagles won the Super Bowl without TJ Watt on their team. They won it with Nolan Smith. Nolan Smith has won a championship. Has TJ Watt? I'm just saying. Now, look, I know some of you are going, well, he's such a great player. He's a great player. And if you want to go out and you want to acquire TJ Watt, I have no problem with it. My issue, and this is not about TJ Watt. This is not in any way that I don't like TJ. I think he's a total stud. I think he's a great, great player. But I'm not giving up youth for him. I can't do it. I got to stay true to what's got me to this point. What has gotten the Eagles to where they're at right now? Think about it. What has gotten the Eagles to where they're at? I'm going to tell you what's gotten there. What's gotten the Eagles to where they're at now is when they started drafting well, they started playing their draft picks, and they played the youth. Everything changed on that with really good coaching, which is what they got, okay? You don't need, the Eagles won the Super Bowl. They just won it. You don't need to go and get TJ Watt and give up a youngster like Nolan Smith. If the Eagles were to do that, I swear, in 3-4 years, Eagle fans would be so pissed off that the Eagles did it. Why? Because you get TJ Watt, maybe a couple more years, plays really good, but you got Nolan Smith going to play 5-6 years are going to be fantastic. I don't think you do it. Okay, and look, if you want to go get TJ Watt, I have no problem with it, of course. But he's got to be in addition to. You can't be TJ Watt and you subtract Nolan Smith. That makes no sense. To me, that doesn't help. He's got to be in addition to Nolan Smith. Now you got something, right? Now you got Nolan Smith and TJ Watt. Totally different. Now you got something there. But this trade's ridiculous. And I had a lot of people ask me, well, my opinion, they think we should do it. I think it's crazy. I think it would be a big mistake. It would go against the things that we have done the last 4 years that have put us in a position to go to 2 Super Bowls. Play the young guys. Let them develop. When Nolan Smith's contract comes up, pay the man. Okay? But Nolan Smith, he had a good second year. But that playoffs, that third year, he went to another level. Okay? And I think he's going to have a huge year this year, okay? And I know he's coming off an injury, and maybe it'll be a little slow start. We'll see where he's at. From what I've seen of him working out, he looks pretty good right now. But there's no way in hell I'm trading Nolan Smith. It ain't happening, okay? It's just not happening. It would be stupid. It would be stupid. I think the Eagles really got 2 good defensive ends, or edge rushers, we'll say. I mean, I think Nolan Smith, and I think Jalen Hunt's a sleeper too. I mean, you look at Jalen Hunt and how he played. See, the way I see it is these guys like Nolan Smith, Jalen Hunt, Moro Jomo, these guys played in the playoffs at a high level. They played in the playoffs at a high level. They contributed in each playoff game. They contributed in the Super Bowl. I think that when you see that, I think that's a pretty good indication that your guys are going to be able to play good in the season. Okay, and I expect Jalen Hunt, I think he's a 7-8 sack guy. Okay, and that's just his second year. I think Nolan Smith's 10-13 sacks. I think Jalen Carter's probably about 10. I think you could get 4 at most from Jordan Davis, which is a good thing. And I think Ojomo can give you 5 sacks, maybe more. But when you see these young guys go out and then they play well in the playoffs and they win you playoff games in big money, winning in the playoffs to me is more important than putting up the flashy stats in the regular season. They don't translate, okay? People think, oh, you throw 40 touchdowns in the regular season, it somehow translates to playoff football. It doesn't. This is what I love about Jalen Hurts. Everybody's discussing and crying about Jalen Hurts. He don't throw 4,000 yards. He don't do this in the regular season. But Jalen Hurts is playing playoff football all year long. And that's what matters. Because if you look at playoff football, what happens to the quarterback's numbers? Their passing attempts come down. Their passing yards come down. They all come down if they're winning. If they're losing the game, they're throwing 35, 40 times. So, to me, you won with these young guys. These young guys produced in the playoffs at the biggest point of the season, the most important games of the season. They came through. All of them. I mean, even Jordan Davis came through. To me, that's a real good indication. That is a real good sign that it's about to get better and it's about to carry on to this next year. I believe it will because of that. Now, if it doesn't and guys fall off, well, then you know what? I would be shocked. I'd be shocked because I think these guys got confidence. I think they've shown that they step up at the biggest times, and I think they'll all be fine. So would I trade Nolan Smith for TJ Watt? Hell no. Hell no. It's not even a question. Would I trade for TJ Watt separately, like give a draft pick? Yeah, I got no problem with that if you want to do it. But I ain't giving up Nolan Smith. With that said, take care. Talk to you later, of course. Don't be a dingbat. Remember, it's our vision, baby. We're all just living in it, and he ain't trading Nolan Smith. Reading this article, and it was saying that the Eagles and the Lions will not get to the Super Bowl this year. That it's actually going to be the Buccaneers. I am so sick of Baker Mayfield. I am so sick of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I can't wait to play him this year because we are going to double moonwalk. That is. You know what I'm saying? No mercy for the Bucs. We are going to Tampa and we are taking everything. Your wife, your children, everything. Hate that team. Denzel Washington out. That's all, folks.
The brother screwed us.